All right, we are live. Happy Tuesday. You are listening to Real Talk with Karen Stacy live on MiamiMikeRadio.com. And I'm going to introduce my guest, and then I'm going to keep talking for a second. This beside me is Donna Martini. Welcome, Donna, to Real Talk.
I'm glad to be here.
I am happy.
No traffic on my way either.
Yeah, you see, it was just a sweet sail.
Yes.
But like, it's a quiet thing because, like I said, even on the feed right now, normally I have like, I don't know, 10 times the amount of people, on. So I think, like you said, daylight savings, everybody.
Which means they'll be on in an hour.
Right. Yeah, everybody's confused.
Yeah.
They're late.
That's okay. If nobody comes up, you can cut my hair.
Oh gosh, okay. Yeah, that'll be good. Yeah, maybe I should do a show with doing that, right?
Why not?
I thought about doing like a beauty show type of thing.
Yeah?
Yeah, because a lot of people, there are so many like options out there for people that a lot of people don't know about. So
Well, you should have a hair drying tutorial. How to get volume or whatever.
Oh, I could totally do that.
Yeah. I mean, everybody would watch that. Trust me.
Except all the guys.
Well, depending on their style and their hair and everything, they might want to know how to blow dry. Or you can give it ones for guys who want to do their wives' hair.
Yeah.
Now, who wouldn't want to marry a guy who could do your hair?
Well, that is true, but
I
most
begged
guys.
one of my boyfriends to do that. He said, D, you get your hair cut the way you like it, and I'll take a class with the hairdresser.
Wow,
I thought that was the sexiest thing.
That is very cool.
Ever.
Yes, it certainly is, because usually most guys that do want to blow dry your hair have no desire to marry you.
It's true.
You're the wrong sex.
Yep.
I just, I know we're waiting. Everybody's coming on. Everybody's tuning in. But I just wanted to say, you did not know this because I didn't tell you this. Today, well, it's actually tomorrow, but today is my 1-year anniversary of Real Talk.
Wow.
So
I'm on your 1-year anniversary.
You are my anniversary girl.
Nice.
So I want to say a huge thank you to Miami Mike and also to the MMR family and the listeners for an amazing year.
Awesome.
Yeah, it's been thank you. It's been a fun ride, I have to say. And it's nice I don't know, trying to make a difference. Right, so I have the right person beside me.
That's my gig for many years.
For saying that, I think I've always tried to. It's always been my gig, but I think that, like you had said to me once in a conversation, it's expanding that. So you can share that. Anybody you share it with is great, but the more people you can share it with, the greater the result is.
And we have to start with ourselves, otherwise we have nothing to share. It's not something you learn. Coaching and speaking from the heart, it's not something you learn in school. You really can't. You have to have the mentality for it. You have to have the heart, right?
Yeah.
You can learn different techniques, but if you don't have the desire to love and share, you can't teach that.
Yeah.
That's
a lot of things in life. You can't teach talent. You can't. I mean, I think there are certain things you can teach if people are willing to learn.
Well, you can teach techniques, and
correct.
You can develop talent. If you have an artistic ability, you can learn techniques to do different things, and you can keep educating yourself. But you need to want to love to sit there. That you can't teach in a school.
Yeah,
it's the passion.
Yeah.
I've been wearing passion oil all day today.
See that?
Yeah, it's my favorite.
Yeah. Well, and that, I think life without passion is. What's the point? Mm-hmm. Right? I mean, I don't know. That's my point. I think so many people that go through life without passion, it's like, okay, and,
But then we have passion kind of blows people away. So.
Right. And then you've been too passionate and then people don't know what the hell to do with you. Exactly. Yeah. So now where's the happy medium there, right? There should be some type of compromise. But I just wanted to introduce you guys to Miss Donna Martini. And, Donna, every guest that comes on my show, I always say, who are you? So that's always my my intro. So, I could sit here and tell everybody all of, the things I know about you, but I'd rather you tell everybody that, and then I can interject.
Well, actually, you asked the wrong question, because I think it was 2 years ago, or a year and a half ago, I was on an audition for a show on Lifetime. And the first thing that the producer says to me when I walked in is, okay, so who are you? Tell us who you are. So I start describing myself, like what I do. And this thing. He's just, no, not what you do. Who are you?
Uh-huh.
Well, it was the worst audition of my life. I stood there. I had nothing coming out of my mouth. I didn't know what to say. I had no clue what she was gearing for, what she wanted.
Okay.
And I have been thinking about it ever since.
Huh.
And I realized that the only thing I know I am is an evolving human. That's it. That's about it. That's all I know. And beyond that, everything else is what we do.
Yeah, that's true. And, it's funny that you say that, because people have asked me for a number of people would say, well, what do you do? I said, I'm a mom.
Yeah.
And my girlfriend would go, but why do you always answer with that? Like, you do hair, now you have your show. What do you do? I'm a mom.
Well, that was first and foremost. So.
Right, because to me, that's who I am. And then everything else is secondary, right? So
I guess the question is, what do you do? And then we're gonna actually talk about who we are.
But the thing is,
that comes out in our
but that's
actions.
what I'm saying, because what you do is who you are. I mean, in this realm of things, I think, at least this part of it.
I don't think so, because then it doesn't really talk about who I am in here. It doesn't talk about who I am here. It doesn't talk about what I'm going to be doing. Okay. Like if I said, for instance, I'm a wellness coach, and then I stuck with that, I would never have tried producing, directing, video, writing music, songwriter. If I listed all the things that I do, you would take up 10 minutes. If I kept going back, I could go all the way to pizza girl and cashier at my parents' food store and deli clerk and everything else. And of course, mom and daughter. And isn't that one of the most important jobs, especially as our parents are aging? Wife. Mm-hmm. Okay, who am I? I mean, it's just too much. And by picking one, we kind of we peg ourselves into one thing. People think, oh, she's a mom, or oh, she's a wellness coach.
Right.
But there's so much more to us than that.
Right.
So I've been really legitimately still don't know how to answer that, except to say that, I'm constantly wanting to strive for more. I'm a human who's really wants to keep getting educated and to learn and grow and share. That's about it. So in the realm of that, I'm on a radio show with you.
In the realm of that,
so I'm a radio show host.
We still have you have a list of accolades that go with all of these things, though.
Okay, so going with being an evolved human, that would mean that we're constantly learning and growing and sharing, and loving. So wouldn't that mean that everything we're doing has that in it? So when I work with a coaching client, I'm intending to be the best I can be. I'm intending to help them to say what they need to hear, not what I want to say, right? And taking as much ego out of it as you can. And we're all human, so there's going to be a little ego in there all the time, right? It's going to be a little bit of it. But
some much more than others.
Some more than others. But that's the journey, to be as evolved as we can, as in the more soul we bring in. With still staying grounded and human. Obviously, if we're all soul and no human, we wouldn't be here.
Right.
But if we're too human, nobody wants to be around us.
Right. Right.
So the great balance there, and we can bring that to everything we do, including friend. Who am I? Friend. Right?
Right.
And responsible human, responsible citizen. You want to try to be anyway. There's so many aspects to us. To fit it all into a sentence, it's I think it's pretty much crazy.
Well, I would have given you a paragraph.
Yeah, a paragraph, right? No, but I'm saying in general.
Yeah.
When people say that, they take it for granted.
Yeah.
That, we're defining ourselves. And is that really who we are?
Right.
Is that really who? And then what happens if we lose that? Like when your son gets older and gets married, or whatever he does, are you no longer a mom?
Right.
So are we no longer a wife or a spouse, or right, with divorce or in death?
So yes, we are no longer that. Yes,
but we still have who we really are.
Right. Of course.
And if we can always identify with that, especially our young people, we should be, cultivating that more.
Right.
Because they identify with their occupation, and they get fired or they're not top of their field. Then what?
Right. Well, I mean, I think at this point, what I want to let the listeners know is, where, like, your purpose at this point and your background, so that they understand. When I say that, I always say that because I want people to know who they're listening to.
Oh yeah, I'm not arguing with you about what your question is.
No, I know you're not arguing, but I'm saying
we have 2 hours. We can talk a lot about what I do. What I function as is a writer and an author, a wellness coach. But everything that I do is about wellness. So it runs the gamut. It runs the gamut with ages from, newborn to senior.
Okay.
Wellness incorporates physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual. So I have to be knowledgeable minimum and do my research in every single aspect of what it is to be a human. So I've been researching for decades. I've been doing this since before everybody even knew what the word wellness meant. So it's been decades of my life dedicated to it.
Okay.
I was actually simultaneously doing it as I was in the construction industry, because that's what I was primarily and how I made my money when I was younger. But it turns out that really gave me a good background for wellness, because it led to feng shui, it led to the environment and everything that we're surrounded in. It led to understanding how ergonomics and how, we started designing things. Like, for instance, a chair. You design a chair for a person to sit in. You design the chair to fit the person, or the other way around. We were designing furniture that looked good, but was so not functional and hurting our bodies. So when we switched that mentality, it turned into to be healthier for us. So everything that you think of, from what you breathe, what you taste, it's all wellness. And so I've made it my job for many, many years of my life. I'm 58 years old now. And I've been doing this since I was in my 20s.
And it's just, it's cute. Donna is this little tiny thing, and, she could build a house.
Well, it's true. I did get my start in the construction industry. From the time I was very little, I was surrounded by it, because my father, my grandfather was in it. I literally married a man we made into a carpenter, and then I gave birth to a carpenter. So
wow.
I have my own tools, my own woodworking shop, so I could say who I am.
Yeah.
Would be a carpenter. And
yeah, I know. You said you just did a whole thing in your house, yes. Right?
I'm redoing my, I'm refurbishing and refinishing and things like the kitchen and bathroom ceilings and spackling and painting and building
sanding,
cabinets,
right? You sanded all
routing, yeah.
I would have just been crying in the middle of the room.
Just built new butcher block counters, just installed brick veneer, backsplash. So, yeah. But I don't do all of it myself. My son forbids me to use a radial arm saw. And what else? It's a circular saw. He says, Mom, you need your fingers. And he said, you need your face. Because if, God forbid, you get a piece of wood snaps back at you, or you're cutting through something. He says, you need both. You're a writer and you're on TV. He goes, you have to do that. And I said, you know what, honey? I agree with you. It's okay if you do that.
Yeah.
We have to draw the line somewhere, right?
Right. Well, I mean, I know that, we can talk about, author. So this is, I'll show everybody in Facebook Live land. I don't know if you can see this. This is my mini book of mighty mantras. And, there's a little mouse on the front, and it's a tiny book that you can actually throw in your bag, or
desk.
Take with you. Desk.
Then your back pocket.
Back pocket, right. It would fit in your back pocket.
I made it to fit into a man's back pocket of Levi jeans.
See that? This was designed specifically for cute little tushes.
Unless you fill out your pants too well, then perhaps you may need to stretch it out a bit. But
oh my, yes. And so, can you explain to people what is in this book, this mighty book?
Well, so years ago, I healed myself of Crohn's, and I also healed myself of many different issues that I had, symptoms, wellness concerns, and everything else.
Healed yourself. So people would listen to that and go, healed yourself? How did you do that?
So anybody who knows the disease Crohn's, which is pretty devastating, knows that the people that have it are on major drugs.
So now, just for anybody that might not know exactly, what exactly does Crohn's do?
Crohn's disease can affect a person in any part of the digestive tract from the mouth to the anus. So there's 5 different types of Crohn's disease, and it's an inflammatory disease, an autoimmune disease. that basically the body's attacking itself.
Yeah.
And it causes a ton of pain and discomfort and malnutrition and anemia and bleeding and all kinds of horrible things. Lots of surgeries, blockages, resections, you name it. Devastating. And they're very harsh drugs. You see it on TV all the time. Humira, one of them is Remicade, which is an intravenous one. And they're painful, they're uncomfortable, but they also could cause cancer. They can lead to tuberculosis and all kinds of things.
And that's the pharmaceutical that's the pharmaceutical life, right? Is that they give you these things to save your life, and then they kill you a different way.
Well, it is helping some people. So we have to understand that, like, not everyone is in the state of mind where they're going to be able to take on a healing process. In fact, in the beginning of the disease, before I even knew what it was, I was being misdiagnosed, and the disease literally progressed. And I, who was the wellness coach, who wasn't helping herself. And it was funny because my whole family thought I had it under control, since I'm like so strong and do it for everybody else.
Right.
But when you're in a weakened state,
yeah, and
there was depression, there was anemia, there was everything, you sometimes can't fight for yourself. Sometimes you need a drug to get you through.
Sure.
So I never discount that. I have to tell where the person's at mentally, emotionally, and spiritually, because
that's true.
They might not have the potential, and if we try to help them heal naturally, they might not be able to do it at that point.
Well, sometimes you need that head start, like you said. You know, I mean, like I suffered many years ago with anxiety and depression, and anybody that I know that suffers from that, when you're first there, you know, sometimes you do need that medication, because if you do go into therapy and you do start doing what you need to do, you need that help, because, you know, going into therapy and doing what you need to do is not easy. So you need that little bit. And I always say to people, and I think the statistics are you're supposed to be on something for about 6 months for it to actually work and stay worked, if you will, and then you can go off of it.
Well, it's always different, and it depends on what the drug is, what's going on with the body, basically what you're eating, how you're sleeping, the rest of the wellness too.
Sure, no, of course, of course.
But there, you know, it's really important to be with the right doctor who's not just prescribing, because
blindly.
There are some things, like for instance, when I was in severe depression, it was actually they were giving me all kinds of drugs. My ADD was off the charts. They were giving me Ritalin and all this other stuff. And it turned out that I was really anemic. And the number one symptom for anemia is depression. The number two is ADD-like symptoms. So they misdiagnosed me. And it caused all kinds of other problems for me. Way back before that, I was engaged to someone. We're just getting married. And I get a phone call that he impregnated the girl at the gym.
Oh, my.
Okay. So I was a mess. By the time I got to the doctor said to me, I got to put you on something. He says, because I didn't even know what depression and anxiety was until that moment. You know, like that was heavy duty.
Yeah.
And he said, I want to suggest that I put you on something, because I need to get you to ground zero. You're so far below ground zero right
so
now.
You can work. Right. That's what I'm saying, is that sometimes you do need that. I mean, I think modern medicine certainly has its place. You know, and you need to know what you need at that point. So sometimes when you're that over, like you said, you need to get in there. And
plus, I didn't know any of the wellness. I didn't have this book back then. I didn't learn. I didn't understand. I was younger.
You learn as you go.
I was scared. I was a young mother. I was all this other things are going on. I already been divorced. Now I'm going through a horrible breakup. There was a lot of things, and I think it was 3 months until I felt really well, and then I weaned. I think it was Paxil or something like that. And I weaned completely off the right way.
Right.
And when I was going through the Crohn's, I didn't go on the heavy duty drugs. I went on prednisone, short courses, because I didn't want it to debilitate me, but it did save my life. I did have life-saving surgery as well. So by the time I figured out how to heal, I'd already lost my large intestines, okay? So my body was already compromised. I'd already had an ileostomy bag, and then it was reversed, and I thank God for that. But if I have to be on one at one time in my life, at least I know what it's like. Crazy healing went on when I had that bag, though. I called myself the bag lady. And I was writing a book about Confessions of a Bag Lady, because there was a time when I had that where I truly did feel beautiful. Because my son said to this, because I was single at the time. I'm still single, by the way. But I'm single, and I'm laying on the table coming out of recovery, and I have this bag on, and I wake up. I didn't know I was going to have it.
Oh, okay.
It was an either or. They didn't know.
Okay.
And so my son was right there by my side. He was probably early 30s at the time. And he said to me, he had all the information downloaded from the internet, and he was telling me everything about it and everything the doctor said, blah, blah, blah. And then he said to me, you know, Mom, this could be a really good asshole finder. And I'm like, because I was under drugs. I'm like, asshole, the whole thing with the bag and everything else.
Right.
He goes, yeah, because, anybody who, who you meet now, they'll have to really love you for who you are. Huh. And something snapped inside of me that I can now love me for who I am. Like, it's not about what I look like, or because when we're younger, everything's attached to that.
Well, even older too. I mean, think about it. So many people, it's worse for older people, at least younger people. Hopefully, once they come in and they come into themselves, when people get older, they get obsessed with looking a certain way. And let's face it, we don't look that way anymore. So now it's even worse, in my opinion.
You got to have this. You got to have the heart.
Yep.
So I understood what he meant immediately, and the shift occurred. And that time when I did have it, which was really freaky to have.
I can't even imagine.
It is freaky. But there was something about me that was radiating because, first of all, I so appreciated life.
Right.
I appreciated my body, which I always hated. And I always complained about everything, right?
Body. Yeah.
But when I did have it reversed, I was told not to by quite a few doctors. And I actually wrote the story, a little bit of the story in the book. But the idea is that I learned through the process of healing and growth. Every single thing I learned, I would write about. And I was sharing, through my writing, and I was being inspired because my journey of seeking the answers, seeking truth, seeking healing has led and guided me to all kinds of wisdom. Like it was opening up some kind of amazing radio station up there that was delivering messages to me right into my right ear. And so I collected so many writings, and then I decided, let me put it together because I was repeating some of these, and I didn't really call them mantras at the time.
Okay.
But I was repeating these messages and putting them on Facebook for like 7 or 8 years, maybe more. And during that process, I would see the response from people, how many likes, how many shares, and I kept track of it. I literally, in a 400-page document. And I decided, let me take the best of the best and put it together in a book. But before I did that, I made sure I wrote down the science behind spirituality. Why do we want to do this process? What is a mantra going to accomplish? What is it voice healing can do for us? What is our true potential to create change? Because there are some people who may have been fighting a disease for many, many years and they don't see results. They maybe getting worse. But the book says, and I'll say to you right now, we shouldn't be fighting a part of our body that's sick. A part of our body that's sick is sick because we're not looking at it. We're not paying attention. We're not seeking healing for that. Instead, we're fighting off and we're calling, I hate cancer or whatever.
Right.
But it's our body signaling us. And so if we could embrace it, which is the hardest thing to do, take responsibility for any participation we had in potentially getting there. And I know part of it's genetics, but genetics can be altered. So we could have altered them through stress and trauma in our life, which is still not our fault. Our parents could have passed it on to us through their stress and trauma. But the good part about that is that we can potentially change back to healthy what has gone awry.
See, that was always a question to me. And after losing, my husband, I got concerned because, you see what it does to your soul, and so I often feared that if I didn't put that pain someplace, it was going to, that it can manifest into, God forbid, disease or anything like that. And it was always in my head, like, to be cognitive about that. Like, you can't make that be stagnant. And I mean, do you feel that can possibly happen?
1,000,000%, 100%, 1,000,000% attached to stress. 1,000,000, all. In fact, when I asked for the healing and I was able to see clearly after the disease had passed a bit, I literally had my talk with God and I prayed about it and I said, like, where did this come from? Like, how did this happen?
Yeah.
Because I was the quintessential wellness professional who lived a life like you wouldn't believe. Yeah. All organic, yoga every day. Yeah. How could I get sick? Which is very embarrassing, by the way. I almost didn't want to admit to anyone for like a year.
Yeah.
I didn't want to admit to it myself because how could I get sick? But when I asked that question, I heard back from my soul right away. And I heard, because you were everybody else's coach, but you weren't your own.
You didn't take care of yourself.
Right. And I went through a divorce, and because I needed to take care of my kid, I squashed emotions. I wanted to forgive him and love unconditionally, so I squashed most of my feelings and anger, and my childhood was all squashed, as I just kept going forward, being the best I can be without really addressing some of those issues. So it made sense to me, the area of the body that it affected. I would hear my gut say, don't do that for them. Don't do that. Don't do it. It's not going to be good. And what my heart would say, no, you got to help them. You got to do that. And I disregarded my gut. Guess where my disease was?
In your gut.
In my gut. So that made sense to me. The idea of inflammation with anger and repressed anger, that area of the body is where we harbor anger anyway. So even though I wasn't aware of it back then, as I asked for healing, I was brought to all of that knowledge and then brought to heal from those issues from the past. And I didn't take fault or blame. It's not about fault or blame. It's about personal responsibility for whatever I did to bring this to fruition in my body. And here's the exciting part. If we're willing to take responsibility for our part, albeit small or big, okay? Because if we're under stress all the time, we're going to create discomfort to disease.
Right.
But so we don't want to blame ourselves for it or fault ourselves. We didn't know it. We didn't know we were going to give ourselves Crohn's or cancer or anything else.
Right.
So if we did know, we would be stopping our behavior, right? But so it happened, okay?
Right.
And taking personal responsibility for our part, this is the exciting part. If I take responsibility for anything negative I did to myself, it means that anything positive I do, I can undo it. If I have control of getting myself sick, I have control of getting myself healthy.
Right.
That's the part that should make everybody excited. So when I do go to meetings, sometimes there'll be one person there who has Crohn's or a severe disease that they got when they were younger. And they're like, how could I do it? I was 12 years old. It's not my fault. Da, 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 da. And I said, no, you're not listening. It's not fault or blame.
Right.
But maybe there's a part of you that can help yourself. Maybe there is a healing that can happen. Maybe you inherited from a grandfather who was actually harboring the negativity.
Right.
Maybe you can go back and do soul-to-soul healing, which you and I were starting to work on.
Right.
The book even describes it. The soul knows no such thing as time. We actually created time as man.
Right.
So we can affect change in the past. There's a proven scientific study actually in the book that's really exciting. I won't tell you about it. Read it in the book about how prayer can help people in the past.
Right.
So in other words, if we pray for them now, they will come through an illness in the past better. Is that crazy? But think about it. From a quantum physics perspective, all we are is energy.
Yeah.
And energy there's no limits to it. It's boundless. There's no time frame to it. So the book is all about overcoming emotions, manipulating ourselves. We call it positive manipulation. It's my trademark phrase that I created many years ago. PM. And it's a way to undo the negativity that we may be harboring or sitting in, or we may have went through. We can do it through our divorce. We can do it through the death of a spouse. Whatever it is at this moment that is not sitting well with us, we have the potential to change it. We don't have to have come what may days. We don't have to, just sit in our crap.
Well, I just want to let you guys know that you are listening to Donna Martini. We are live on MiamiMikeRadio.com. You are listening to Real Talk with Karen Stacy, and Donna Martini is a life coach, a healer, wellness coach, and we are talking. She's also an author, and she has her book here with us today. My mini book of Mighty Mantras, which is a handheld book that you can take with you every day. So, I mean, you said like 16 different things that I wanted to jump in on and elaborate with, because those were all bullet points that I wanted to cover. One of them that I really wanted to cover, though, was, and you and I spoke about this, survival mode. Mm-hmm. So, you just said, well, I got divorced. I had to be a mother. You kept saying you pushed it. So I refer to that as survival mode. And I find that survival mode becomes a norm right? Because of the fact that it's like, you know, I always say, you know, when my husband, you know, died, it was like, you know, the mortgage company was calling and I was like, I don't even know, like, I can't even breathe. Like, I don't know about the mortgage. And it's like, I'm sorry, ma'am, you know, that your husband died, but the mortgage is due in 3 days. So you can't, there's no time to cry, right? Because now you got to function.
That's right.
So, you know, you go through divorce, you're sick, you know, any of these things that take place, the loss of a spouse, the loss of a parent, you know, child being, whatever it is, and you still have to keep going. So now, how do you keep going? You shut down, basically. To me, survival mode, when you're in survival mode like that, wouldn't you say at that point, I know you were, now you probably don't go into that mode because you're in tune. But prior to being in tune, you innately just shut down, correct? Because if you
Actually,
shut down,
it may be the opposite. You may be hyped up. You may be on so much cortisol from it's pumping from the stress and the trauma.
True,
because that's one of the you named like there's 5 most stressful things you can go through in your life. Which
right?
Is death of a loved one.
Right.
Moving.
Right.
Getting fired from a job, job change, house, you know.
Sure.
Those are
huge
really
changes,
huge
right?
Changes,
right.
Divorces, you know.
Right.
So when you're going through that, the reason why I wrote the book is because we need a hand. We need a helping hand. And I write in the book Survival Mode and going from survival mode to thrival mode. So that we can kick down those hormones, because the most important aspect of this is that now we're drinking, 5 times more coffee. We're not in tune with our emotions, so they're going inward.
And when you're in shutdown mode, you're drinking 5 times more glasses of wine.
Maybe
sometimes.
more alcohol,
right?
Which is a depressant, which makes things worse.
Right.
So the idea is that, you know, you have to manipulate that energy that may be going on with inside of you. And part of us wants to mourn. Sometimes we want to feel sorry for ourselves. Sometimes we want to, you know, cry, and that's okay. We can acknowledge that.
Absolutely, but you can't live there.
Well, exactly. Like, you can literally time yourself crying, or you can allow yourself to cry knowing full well that you're doing it so that you can come through it and come back to balance.
And you know what? I have
that.
to, right, just about, you know, that's why I had to laugh, like, and you know exactly what I'm going to say. I met Donna, we've connected for maybe about a month now, I want to say, give or take. And she had posted something on Facebook, and it really resonated with me. And it was the post that you put, and you said, your mother had asked, where is my sweet little girl?
Yes.
And it resonated with me because I had just been in a situation, it was a business situation, and someone did not do the right thing. And, you know, I was trying to handle it correctly. So I didn't want, you know, to go after them and be the bitch and to go out like, you know, guns blazing.
Right.
But I still felt, and I still feel, because it's still not resolved yet, I still feel like, you know, sometimes when you don't have that backbone like that you get walked on.
But why do you think you have to be either or?
Well, exactly. So it's finding that balance. So anyway, that was one of the things. So when I was going through that, and I was fighting that urge to just lash out and nobody messes with me and and I fought that urge. And then you posted that post, and it was like, okay. And then one of your, a comment came, and it was about the spider, the scorpion, that bit someone, and the person, you know, helped, or the animal helped the scorpion, and they bit him not once but twice. And he said, why did you come back again? And he said, because I knew you were afraid, and I wanted to help you. Like, he accepted the fact that he was going to bite him, but he was still going to do it anyway. Was that, am I getting that right?
Well, I think the scorpion could do it. In other words, it was
because I can.
Because you're allowing it. You're right there.
And but the animal animal that was helping him said, I know, but I still want to do it anyway.
Right.
And so that really resonated with me because, we can
make
all,
their decisions.
right, we can all be nasty. Being a bitch came as natural as possible to me. I am a kind, person, but sometimes you're not always nice because when somebody messes with you, your first reaction is, to go after them. So it's been a lot for me to step back. But anyway, I saw that thing. I could go on about all of that stuff, but I saw that, and then something else you had put, and I think I wrote something, and you responded to me, and you were like, if you want to reach out, reach out. So you and I, had connected, and we had, I think that was our second conversation. So the first conversation, we talked a little bit. You kind of got to know me, and we did the soul to soul thing where you saw where I was and brought so many things to light to me. But in response to what you were saying, you said to me, you that morning, I was having a bad morning, and you had texted me. You said, I feel you really strong. Are you okay today? And I said, no, I'm not. And it was 11:30, and you said, call me. And I called you, and I said, you said, well, you need to feel this. You need to let this out. You need to feel this. And I said to you, it's 11:30. All I can think of is at 2:30, I have to go pick up my son. Right. So there is no time to cry. And you said to me, we got plenty of time. And so, I would have that's why, as you were just saying, it's true. There is you can make the time. You just can't live there.
Right.
You have to go through it.
Like you absolutely can, when you're going through an emotion, if you were to deny the emotion, it's not going to go away.
Right. But
it's like, just acknowledge at least you have it. And you know what? I like to do the Ho'oponopono prayer. I don't know if anybody knows about the Ho'oponopono prayer, but it's an Hawaiian prayer. 4 lines. I love you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me, and thank you. And if you're the kind of person who likes to keep it together and hold it strong, then when you come to that point of anxiety or something's bothering you and you can't get positive for whatever reason, saying that prayer is so healing. You're apologizing to yourself. It's like one part of you is apologizing to the other. And it's amazing how fast it brings you up. It's really I love you, which is bringing in love. I'm sorry, and please forgive me, which is bringing in the grace and humbleness. And then thank you, which is bringing in the gratitude.
Right.
And we have to accept that we're human.
Yeah.
No matter what. I teach self-motivation. Because I don't want to whip somebody. I mean, have I ever whipped you?
No.
Right. And you never asked me to.
So, I might have, but no. No. And that's the whole thing is that what I found, I have 1,000 things I could talk about with this, but like you say, the PM, the positive manipulation. And it was, at that point though, that particular day, what we were doing was we had to let the sword pass through. So,
which means that she was feeling pain in her heart over a loss, and I asked her to picture it as a sword in her heart, twisting and turning, and that's what it's been doing for how many years?
Right. Which the analogy was really, again, I was in survival mode. Mm-hmm. I had to keep it going, and so I was just used to, every day I woke up, I told you there was an elephant on my chest every day. And everything I did with an elephant on my chest all day, every day.
But if you didn't have your son, the elephant would have kept you in bed.
Oh, I know. Well, you know what? I don't know what would have been. Thank God I will never know what the answer would be. I know that I'm strong, and I know I would have drawn from somewhere, but there is no greater reason to move and keep going than your child. There's no greater reason. But I was used to that when you gave me that analogy, and you have the knife and it's turning, you can never heal because it's an open wound.
It's in there.
But all of us, everyone out there listening right now, everyone that's watching and listening to us right now can relate to that. Yeah. Because how many, and I guarantee you that half the people that are listening to us right now have that knife in, and it just keeps turning.
So for one reason or another, whether it's a bad business deal that's gone on, someone hurt them, so a relationship that's a divorce, a loss of any kind.
Anything.
That when that sword is in and it's twisting, then there's no potential for healing. But if we were to say, you know what, I'm done, I want to start healing from this. I know I may not feel my best self tomorrow, but I definitely want to start the process. So you picture that sword passing all the way through. You hold your hand on your heart, which, by the way, has been known to expand our energy there.
Okay.
Believe it or not, just bringing attention to it. And picture it starting to close up, starting to like mega heal right at that moment. And from that moment on, you know that whatever went on is in the past. You're not living through it anymore. You don't have to feel about it anymore. Choose forgiveness if it's for yourself or the other person or whatever it is, even of God. Okay, a lot of people get angry at God for loss.
Sure.
And then move forward knowing every day that the future that you're walking into is not predicated on what pain you were still in from the past. It's now fresh, new life that you get to create.
But the truth is that, I mean, I did that day, and I felt like I had an exorcism. It was the craziest thing I have experienced. I have done, Reiki. I've had, different types of things. I've had a Reiki session done many, 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 many years ago. And I mean, there were like 2 masters that had to come in because I had so much that was stuck. They were blowing.
I was attached to you for days after that.
I'm sure. I mean, it was a lot, and I hadn't even gone through this, right? So I know that it's very strong. And so my point is that I said to you, but I don't want to feel that pain. And you said to me, but you do. You feel it all the time. So now allow yourself to feel it. And I'm like, it's 11:30. Like, I can't feel this pain because at 2:30, I got to wipe my tears and I got to go get my kid. And he's going to look at me and go, Mommy, what's wrong? Mm-hmm. And I remember you on the phone with me and I'm like, and you were like, you can do this. Are you ready? And I said, yes. And you said, are you sure you're there? I'm going to tell you what to do. And I said, yes, I'm ready. I need to do this. And I laid in my bed and I went over all the things you told me to say and all the things you told me to do.
Which, by the way, I'm a soul-to-soul coach. This is like a soul whispering kind of thing. It was really her information coming through for me to hear.
Right.
So it wasn't my words. It was her soul's words to her, which is why it resonated. Even the idea of letting the sword pass through came to me because her soul was talking. And this is where when I work with someone, I don't want to say what I need to say. Sometimes I hear in my head, tell them the story about when you did this or that. This way they're in tune and they understand that there's a process. But beyond that, it's all about the person and what their soul is trying to say and been saying. That's why it resonates.
Now, there are some people that probably are like, what the hell are they talking about? Soul to soul. Can you explain what that means?
So everybody knows the expression mind, body, soul.
Right.
But maybe people don't really understand all of what that means. In religious context, everybody has their own definition of that. I just consider the soul to be the energy that's attached to all there is, whatever you believe. If you believe it's universe, if you believe it's God, it doesn't really matter because it's all energy anyway. And it's basically the part of us that is giving us the desire to love and be good.
Right, but why are you able to, I think everybody knows what the soul is. So why is it that you're able, why did you know what my soul needed? How did you do that?
Because I asked. Because everyone is capable of this. I teach people how to do it all the time. And that's one of the reasons why I don't call myself a life coach. I call myself a wellness coach, because if you're not well and balanced, you're not going to be able to hear your own soul. You're not going to be able to be in touch with other people either. You're going to be in your own shit. I call it the dirty diaper syndrome. You're going to be in your own shit and you're going to reek of it and you're not going to be able to get out. The more we become in touch with the desire to be good, to heal, to grow, to learn, to move forward in a positive light, the more our soul is there to talk to us. We only need to desire it, and we already have power right there to do it.
Right.
We're already in tune with way more than just us.
But the problem is like, that's the reason why therapists are here. So many of us are quite intelligent. So many of us have that, connection, but you don't know what to do with it.
But a therapist is not teaching that. I'm not against therapy.
No, I understand.
I recommend people to go to therapists for specific needs.
Yes.
The reason why I wrote this book and the reason why I want to get out there to the public is because there aren't aren't very many people teaching you how to self-heal.
Yes, exactly.
All the powers that you were created with. You are a self-healing machine.
Yeah.
Okay? You were created so powerfully, yet no one's ever taught you. Sometimes I think religions have suppressed. There's a Dead Sea Scrolls, which was parts of the Bible that were never able to come out to the public. And it was really talking more about energy and energy manipulation. I mean, it's in the Bible, basically. One of them, and whether you believe in God, don't worry about that aspect as much as you think about what a book would say from thousands of years ago that's trying to teach.
Right, it's just the wording.
It's the wording. So when it said, where two or more are gathered in my name, I am there, right? Mm-hmm. So when you and I were together...
Yep.
And we both intended the same. You intended your healing. I intended your healing. I intended for goodness. And basically, whenever I coach anyone, I'm getting a healing at the same time. So
when two or more, happen?
Well, I'll show you. As two or more are gathered in my name, I am there. So when I was tuned into you for the purpose of helping you, mm-hmm. and by the way, I don't charge for my coaching services one-on-one to people. I don't do it to the public all out there, but people show up to me serendipitously, and I know I'm supposed to help them. Mm-hmm. It always leads to something bigger and better. And I'm usually being people who are out to the public or out to help others are usually coming to me, because if I help them, I'm helping 1,000 more people or more.
And I remember you saying that to me, and it's funny because I don't know why I wrote notes, because I mean, these are all things that I was going to bring up. But, it was interesting because I know since you and I have met, and each show I've kind of made references to things that I've gone through in the past couple of weeks. And, I had told you like that weekend that, a friend, client, we were having the same conversation. It was two different instances of the same conversation.
We took it from me to you to them.
Right.
So that means that I was a part of that
right.
healing. That's like powerful and exciting to me.
Yeah.
That
the
I can affect
effect.
Change.
Yep.
Right. Like the pebble into
yep.
into the ocean. So the idea is, though, that when I was with you and speaking soul to soul, or hearing, I should say, because mm-hmm. I was really hearing, we were asking questions out loud, and then I was hearing in my head direction. And you would say, okay, that really resonates with me. Well,
right.
that's my key that I really am hearing correctly, A.
Right.
And that's your key to, this is what my soul wants. This is what my soul's trying to tell me. But when we're in pain, when we're in anxiety, when we're in fear, when we're
yes.
in anger, when we're in unforgiveness,
you don't know how to do it.
You cannot hear, because you're in your human ego head. Yep. And ego not meaning egotistical, just
right.
human.
Just human.
You're just very, very grounded without any spiritual connection at that moment. The more emotion you're in, except for happiness, compassion, love, and goodness, if you're in the negative emotions, then most likely you're more in tune with your human self. Now, this isn't about being bad. But it's not bad to be human.
Right.
We're made this way.
Right.
But where is it getting us? If we stay
right.
that way, where is it getting us? So the idea is to be light up on ourselves a little bit, to know that, listen, there could be 1,000 reasons why we are in the state we are in right now. That has nothing to do with fault or blame. It's just circumstance. So we got to go easy on ourselves and say, but I intend to do better. That's all. Just say, I intend to do better. I want to do better. I want to heal. I want to grow. I want to move. And the second we say that, the soul starts talking. Actually, the soul's always talking. We start hearing. And when you said what it was doing to your soul, I wanted to not correct you, but just let you know that the soul is so powerful. There's nothing ever going wrong there.
Right.
It's really our connection to the soul that's interrupted. But the soul's always there, which should be very comforting, that we always have power and goodness at our disposal. We could, some people want to drop to their knees to bow down to the power of, whether it's God or the higher power, whatever they are in tune with. To me, it's just a way to stay humble and know that at this moment I'm in anxiety and I'm in a state of needing grace. And when you bow to that, and just that's almost like a physical reminder of what you want to do mentally and emotionally. So you're getting your whole body into it. And you're saying, okay, I need the gift. I need to be gifted right now. I need to hear power.
Right, but that's the thing, is that so many people, and now their ego, self, takes over, and they will not allow themselves to bow to anything. They will not. I always said, like,
well, there's it's bowing to yourself if you think about it. It's just bowing to your own higher knowing.
But they don't have that mindset to do that. That's what I'm trying to say.
But the point is that sometimes they don't even know. They don't even know why. Like, for instance, when I wrote my first book, The 10 Commandments of Divorce, it's all about taking personal responsibility, because when we do that, it takes the onus off the other person who's hurt us. So the thing is that when we start to see that it's not about fault or blame, and we really hold on to that, and we start taking responsibility for the people we attract, the paths we take, the decisions we make, being stupid, kind of getting a sense or an intuition we shouldn't do something, we do it anyway, then we're in trouble for it. This on and on and on.
Yeah.
We love too much.
Yeah.
That's something we could take responsible for. It's not about being bad.
No.
Loving too much isn't a bad thing, but it may end in a bad result for us.
Right.
We want to change that. So just take responsibility for the decisions you make, the state of being you're in, the childhood you maybe had chosen.
Amen.
When you were a soul.
Amen.
All of that adds up. Understand that by taking responsibility, you could be shown that eating a certain food is triggering certain emotions in you that you can't control. Get rid of the food. Like my daughter and I, sugar. We eat cranberries that have like sugar and sulfur. We want to bite people. I mean, we wouldn't even recognize our personality.
Yeah.
And so to understand how food creates moods, that's taking responsibility, but understanding that it's not your fault.
Right.
That you could change that, though.
Right.
Chicken, lots and lots of chicken will trump aspartic acid, which triggers testosterone, which, like you ever talk to a bodybuilder where they're getting ready for a meet?
All they eat is grilled chicken.
And they want to beat people. They want to they're angry. They're like big monsters. And they change their personality because of what they're eating. It's all biochemistry.
Yeah.
So the idea is just take responsibility for everything. Everything. Even when someone pisses you off.
Yep. And
you could be triggering them. Yep. Just by being your best self that day. Maybe you're so happy, they're miserable, they want to snap at you.
Yep.
Take responsibility for being happy and putting a shadow literally on them. And that sounds crazy, but here's what happens. If we're willing to be that good and that unconditional without love, then when right away we can say...
somebody wants to be
so
nasty, they can't deal with it.
Well, so if you want to be nasty to me because you're not in a bad mood, right? But all of a sudden you're acting towards me and I'm like, hey... sister, come on, and I'm going to be giving ego back.
Yeah.
Or I can say, what's my part in this? In my head, I can say, what's my part in this? And I'll hear, she's unhappy and you're happy. I'll hear that. And then all of a sudden, it will make me want to love her more. Guess what? When I love her more, her whole day changes. Her attitude changes. She's not barking at me.
Right.
So by taking responsibility for it, what I'm doing or reflecting is actually creating a healing for both of us. Now that's powerful. Mm-hmm. And like you said, some people don't want to get there.
No.
But I explained so much of it, and these mantras are meant to get us there. Even if it's gradual, it doesn't matter. This is your life. This is your journey. You get to go as fast as you want to go. But I will tell you that the faster you do want to undertake this, the more your life will change. Everything changed for me when I started acting this way years ago. And I wrote about it in the book. Between my money and finances, the relationships I had, my surroundings and what I was able to now, do for my children. So many things. Even my career took off, like everything. I started hearing better. And that's when I started coaching people and realizing that, wow, this journey might not be all about obtaining and doing. It may be about loving, giving, and sharing. And so that's the next layer for me. How far can I take this?
Yes. Well, you are listening to Real Talk with Karen Stacy live on MiamiMikeRadio.com. And my guest today is Donna Martini. And we are talking about
positive manipulation.
Positive manipulation. We're also talking about her
Soulful
book.
Journeys.
Take... And we don't, so far, we don't have any, but we are going to do a... if anybody on the feed right now, the feed is very quiet today. Usually I have triple or quadruple the people. Like you said, everybody must be off for the holiday.
Then I'm really glad I didn't hit traffic getting here.
Yeah, right. Donna wanted to, if there's anyone that's listening right now that wanted some type of guidance in with an issue,
we'll do an online coaching.
She would be happy to, we'll be happy to look at that and see if what we can do to help. Also, at some point during this evening, we are also going to be raffling off one of Donna's books, my mini book of Mighty Mantras. We're going to be raffling off one of them that we will send to that lucky person. How
much longer do we have on? Because I will announce how we're going to do that now if you want.
I think we have about an hour, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay. So if somebody's listening now, okay, what we're going to do is there's a character in this book that I created and cartoons to express some of the ideas. And that character is called Mantra Mouse. And if you can get the correct spelling of Mantra Mouse, and you can do it at the end of the show, we'll ask for it. Who is the character of the book? And whoever guesses it right, we'll get the free book too.
Okay, so they gotta spell Mantra Mouse correctly.
Mantra Mouse correctly, and they have to remember Mantra Mouse at the end of the show.
At the end of the show.
So we're going to ask for it at the end of the show.
So at the end of the show. So that means sit on it right now.
Yeah.
Write it down so you don't forget. Write it down so you don't forget.
And I don't know if the cartoons are big enough for you to see them, but eventually we'll give you my contact information so that you will be able to see my stuff. You can follow me on Facebook. I unfortunately have too many friends for them to allow for more friends.
Okay.
But people can follow me.
You can follow.
And every day I put out a mantra. I'm doing them live now in the morning, actually.
Yes. I look forward to those.
So we don't have any questions then?
Not yet. I don't think so. I don't see any here. But, one of the things that I did, that you were just talking about is, which I'm huge on, is accountability. So I think that... you are single as well, correct? Mm-hmm. So I find that a huge thing for our age group is that so many people that are divorced or widowed or perhaps never even in, a marriage or whatever it is, so many people do not take accountability for their actions in relationships. So a lot of people don't do the work it takes to heal, because I think what happens is, and this is what we were just talking about, letting the sword go through. When you are divorced, it's a loss. When anything, like you said, a business deal, whatever it is, all these things take place and it's a loss. And that the remnants of that build if you don't put them someplace. So what I find that happens is I'll meet people that tell me, I want a wife. I want to get married. So now, okay, hi, I was a very good wife. I know what it means to be a wife. So I'm here. Let's try this. No, your lifestyle doesn't work, or you're this or you're that. So now, is it me that's the problem, or is it the person that never dealt with whatever it was that they needed to deal with? That's and again, problem isn't the right word, right? We don't blame.
We actually don't know if you guys were ever right to begin with. So it may be a gift to you that he didn't want that.
Correct.
Or to whoever the person is.
Correct.
So the idea is that when we're in tune with the soul and we're asking for truth and we're asking to have our best life, then every day we might have situations that feel uncomfortable, but ultimately it turns out to be for the best.
Right.
So we have to, we can't be bothered with what another person's issues are unless we're married to them or in a relationship with them.
Yes, but I think that more my question was, and I probably didn't word it correctly, is that people walk into, you talk about energy. Mm-hmm. So we're talking about positive manipulation. You're talking about, I'm stepping into my best life, I'm ready.
Right.
And now you have other people that, let's say, have gotten divorced. I'm just going to use that as an example. Somebody has gotten divorced. They had a horrible divorce and they hate that they're no longer married. Mm-hmm. But they're a great person and they can't wait to meet the love of their life. So now, are they walking into that relationship with all of the same things that perhaps made that other relationship fail?
So Potentially, and I wrote that in the first book. If we don't heal from what we came from, we're walking into the same situation over and over again.
You're bringing the same energy, right?
Or we're literally going the opposite direction, which may not be best way either. Which is why I always say we need to wait. We need to really heal from a relationship before we go into another one. How do we know we did that?
Right.
Okay. When you don't have anger anymore, when you're not blaming the other person anymore.
Yeah.
When you're totally okay with the person's life and them being happy, especially if they're the parent of your child. And you move forward knowing that you're going to have a great life. Okay. So, and again, when your original question was about, specifically the person doesn't like your lifestyle or whatever, there's a situation where in between that, which is where we go into relationships because we're physically attracted and then we let them drag on because maybe the sex is good or it feels comfortable or whatever, you like certain aspects. But eventually, if you're looking to get married, looking to be in a relationship with someone long term, you shouldn't be dating someone for, a long length of time.
Right.
And especially if they're on a different page. Like, if you know what I'm saying? Like, it's one thing if you both want to hang out together and you both know.
Right.
But if you don't, then obviously there's a situation going to arise where somebody's got to make a decision.
So again, that's kind of law of attraction, right? Because, it's the energy that you put out. So two like people come together, right? Mm-hmm. So if you are, you meet someone like, this day and age, most people online don't make a committed, but they also don't, it's not committed relationships. A lot of people are, friends with benefits, if you want to call it that. A lot of people just, I had a girlfriend of mine that, she had maybe 3 guys that she always had in a rotation and she never wanted to settle down with any one of them. She was happy that if one wasn't available that weekend, she can hang out with this one that weekend and, and went into it with that energy. So I guess if the intent is the same, then the outcome works, right?
As long as, listen, we can do whatever we want to do. It's the outcome we're worried about and the karma attached to it. So when we're going out there and we have 2 people who maybe been through a hardship and they come together and they are enjoying each other's company forever amount of time. And then all of a sudden one person says, you know what, I want more. Mm-hmm. And if it's not right in the situation, it's got to end.
Right.
But, ultimately, if you don't try, you never know either.
Right.
So the thing is, though, that there are people who know the person's not right, know they're going to be hurting them, keep on going because they don't want to be uncomfortable. So that's where you create issues moving forward. We are entitled to reap what we sow. We are going to reap what we sow. So that's where I say, is this the best you can do for yourself? Is this the best you can do for the other person? We have to push beyond any of our own discomforts when it comes to hurting others. When we involve others in our lives like that, that's really not good. We're doing something that's ultimately going to hurt ourselves because whatever we're doing negative to someone and ever knowingly doing, we're talking knowingly. If you're unknowingly doing it, it's a human deal.
Right.
If we're knowingly doing it, that's a negative that it's going to be harder to make up. So there's a couple of different situations that you're talking about. Either time goes by and you realize this is not what I want.
Right. And
you have that conversation and it's innocent. And you know what? At that moment, we could decide to go 2 ways. We can blame the other person for what they feel or don't feel, or we could thank the other person for telling us truth so we can move on and get what we really want in the relationship that's going to be amazing.
So, that's a funny thing because I always, I always like to know what I'm working with because I feel like as long as you know what you're working with, you know how to position yourself. So in other words, if you meet somebody, let's say with dating, you meet somebody and the person says to you, I'm not really looking for anything serious. Maybe they're open to it, but they're not looking for anything serious, whatever it is. I've spoken to countless women that I know that have told me, oh yeah, I've been with somebody for like 7 years, yeah, we hang out, and both parties are happy with that, which there's nothing wrong with. But I think that you got to know what you're working with. Like if you're in a situation like that where that's what it is, that you connect on Sundays or, whatever it is, and that's what you're working with, then you're good with that.
But wait a minute, but you meet someone, you like them, you're doing the lifestyle they want, or are you going to the table knowing what you want, attracting the same type of person That's a big difference, because if you're just biding time with someone because of what they want, maybe you're hoping that they'll change. Who knows?
Correct.
You have to know what you want.
Correct.
And if you're wishy-washy about that, you're going to get a wishy-washy relationship out of it.
Yep, exactly. Well, yeah, of course. And again, that's law of attraction, because that energy that you're putting out is the energy that's going to come back.
Or you're getting the opposite of what you really want because you're so afraid of what's going to happen. In other words, that was my gig for years, because I was so afraid of being hurt, because I had such torturous relationships that were some way back were abusive. And so my biggest fear was being with someone like that. And so I didn't realize that that's what I was attracting.
Right.
Because I was attracting my fear. I
Right.
wasn't attracting love. I was attracting the biggest energy my body was sitting in at that moment, and my subconscious was pushing out.
Right. So that's what I'm saying. So the energy that you were
Yes.
putting out there was fear. So you were in turn
bringing the fear. But it was the opposite of what I wanted.
Correct. I understand.
I was intending a beautiful relationship. I was preparing for it. I'm like, if I want a really great guy, I got to be a really great girl. And I was
Right.
going out there healing and growing and knowing that I deserved exactly what I was willing to give.
Right.
But at the same time, didn't realize that there was a tremendous fear of the opposite happening, because that's my past. That's all I knew. That's all I knew.
So, like, in other words, be careful for what you wish for, because you just might get
That's
it.
where that phrase comes from.
Okay.
It's the subconscious that is 90% of what we attract.
Yes.
So if our subconscious is not working right, that's where the issues arise. That's why I wrote this book, because this is what you do to heal the subconscious. Lots of more methods besides this book. I'm going to say this is just one tool. But if we say the mantras, and if we in creating an intention to heal, we're actually making choices during the day to walk into the past that lead us and guide us to that healing. So maybe it will be a therapist you're going to meet, or an EMDR specialist, or some kind of therapy, or some kind of yoga. It doesn't really matter. Or maybe you'll be led to a nutritionist who lets you know that certain foods are making you worse. Or,
Right.
Listen, it's endless.
Right.
It's endless what will happen once you determine that you have the potential to heal, the power. But first, obviously, starting in the desire.
Right. Well, that's the whole thing, is that it's a lot of people think, it's out of their hands. That's what I'm saying, is that, it's like, oh, woe is me. Everybody is the victim, certain people are the victim, and all that. Like, you have to make peace with things like that.
I have a saying.
Okay.
Okay. To go from woe is me to whoa.
It's me. I like it.
And that's in the book, because then that's a big realization.
I like that.
Like, I realized one day years ago, I was the common denominator in all my life episodes. And I'm the first person to ever write that on the internet decades ago. I'm the common denominator. Every single person I was attracting, I was the one who was the circle, the bullseye in there.
Epiphany as well.
Right. And so the idea is to understand the energy that we're sitting in and we're creating.
Yep.
And that, of course, is coming from the subconscious, which is difficult because the sub means sub, it's below, and we don't even know sometimes what it really is. The only way you know that there's problems down there is by seeing what's going on up here. So if you
pay attention.
Well, if you're continuously running into the same situations, you can write down and you can see what's going on.
But then again, some people don't pay attention to that. So
they're into blame and they're into blame and fault, and so
exactly.
But as soon as you say, "I want truth,"
right?
You could even say, "This is what I used to say: I want truth, even if I'm scared."
Yeah,
and I know I'm going to hear it in a way that's going to make me feel comfortable. Like I used to say that in the beginning. Now I just say, let it rip. I don't care, because I know truth heals, and I know hearing it makes everything all right going through. Even if it hurts initially, you're definitely feeling better afterwards. So I put on megaphones on my ears, open up my eyes with toothpicks if you have to. I want to see and hear everything I need. My participation, what I'm supposed to be doing. I want to know truth about. I did truth about relationships. I had a few relationships in my life that just felt imbalanced, and I just didn't believe. I was getting the sense that they were bad for my self-esteem. Literally, the way they treated me, the way I allowed them to treat me. So I asked for truth about them, and within days, one right after the other, the 3 different people came out of the woodwork saying things that let me know for sure how they really felt, and I was able to detach from them. In certain ways, not like I needed to run from them.
Right.
We don't have to run from negative people.
But that connection is no
longer there. I don't have to pour love and energy into it. I sort of just, and one of them just disappeared, which was great. The other one, I just told her, I said, listen, this isn't fair, to keep this going. It's ridiculous. And it wasn't fair to her either.
Right.
And then the other one was a business that dissolved. We just ended it, which was in a very good way. So it was fine, because I'm always going to end things well, even if they're not fair. I'm still going to feel good about it, because guess what? We always get what's coming to us. So if we end beautifully, expect anything we've lost, it's going to come back in another way. It may not come back tomorrow, the month after, but it will. If we forgive and love unconditionally, no matter what someone's done, the goodness always comes in.
Well, see, and that's the thing, is that, like I said, so many people are angry, so many people are resentful, and no one, and a lot of people don't want to do what it takes to heal, Let's
talk about that.
Yeah.
What did you go through this last month with me?
A lot.
How do you feel now, though, in comparison?
Honestly, what I was, when we did that exercise with the sword, going through, and I had said, I felt like I had an exorcism. I mean, after I did that, I literally just passed out for like a half an hour. I just, out cold. And, I didn't know what I was feeling. And then it was my son's birthday. Mm-hmm. And my father was over, and normally whenever a holiday comes, I am miserable, and I never know how I'm going to get through the day.
And this is because of the loss? Because
of the loss, because, when you celebrate your son's birthday, mm-hmm. and his father isn't here with you, it sucks.
Right.
And so I would have a hard time with that. And this year, I was talking to my father, and it was probably around 5 or 6 o'clock, and I realized that I didn't feel terrible. Mm-hmm. And I had told you that I always felt like there was an elephant standing on top of me, and I no longer have an elephant on top of me. Mm-hmm. So it is, how do I feel? I feel liberated.
A little lifted.
I feel liberated because that hurt. Like I said, it hurts. And, mm-hmm. and it's, if you walk around with an elephant on you all mm-hmm. the time, it's exhausting. And so, you helped me work through a lot of, different aspects of things. So, and also, you were encouraging me to figure out my truths and all of these different things. And, everything kind of came at me.
Yeah, we have to be ready to see and hear truth, because we might not like what we hear and see. It might culminate into something that we really didn't think we wanted. But ultimately, what do we really want? Do we want what our human side wants, which could be momentarily, good for us, or do we want what our soul wants, which knows the whole big picture?
Right. And again, and this, you probably won't like me saying this, but I feel like it's okay to actually want both, because once you know the truth, then you know that if you choose to walk this walk, you know where you're walking to. Mm-hmm. So you know that where you're going, and you know that you're not going to continue there. So it's a point of, like I said, knowing what you're working with. Mm-hmm. So me personally, like, if I know what I'm dealing with, I know how to deal with that. It's the unknown, and that's why the truth is so important. I'd rather somebody just say to me, you know what, Karen, I think blah, blah, blah about you. Okay, great. Well, now I know how you feel about me. So now I know how I should interact with you.
Well, what's really cool too about that is you could be in that person's company and you could feel uneasy and not know why. Yeah. But meanwhile, there's an energy of judgment they're putting at you all that time, or there's questioning, or maybe they're twisting their words or lying. We're feeling this discomfort in their company and not knowing what it's about.
Very true.
And then we keep giving them the benefit of the doubt because maybe we're longtime friends or whatever it is. And this is what happened with one of the women that I was telling you about, that when I asked for truth, I kept feeling this negativity, and my self-esteem was plummeting. I kept thinking that there's something wrong with me.
Right. It's you.
Right. And meanwhile, it was the judgment she had of me and a difference of opinion, which was pretty major about certain things to do with addiction, because I'm an addiction coach as well. Okay. As the wellness is part of addiction. Addiction is part of wellness. And it went totally against what she believes, and she was judging me for it, because as a coach who just talks about energy manipulation, who does that? Who talks about energy manipulation? Basically, we're doing everything, especially with the addiction issues that we have now. We're using AA, which is a 90-something-year-old's process. We've learned a lot since then. We can help the process, and we know now what to do and what not to do. Yet we're not taking all the new science and we're not utilizing it. But because I am very new in this as far as my information, although I'm not, I've been saying the same thing for 20-something years. I've been proven right by science now. But I was getting it soulfully and writing about it for decades online. You could see it. Energy manipulation was real, but we didn't have the science to back it. Now we do, but nobody's coming through with it. So what happened was, no matter how much I talk, I still can't get people to listen. I don't have the PhD and all the letters after my name. Yeah. So being with this friend and having her think I'm an idiot or undercut me, or actually this is what she was thinking and feeling, when it finally came out, I was like, whoa, no wonder why my self-esteem feels like when I'm around her. And so it was awesome. I did lose the friendship over it. It was the one thing I did not want to have to do.
Right.
But to be honest, she really was so adamant about how she felt, that it wasn't really worth, like, she needed to go her way, I need to go mine, and right. I sent blessings and I did forgiveness, and I love the person. Right. It's not about that. But sometimes we're meant to be together for a short amount of time, and it's
a reason, a season, right. or a lesson, right?
And so we could be doing all of it in one day. Who knows?
Right. But now, so I have a question for you on that. So what do you do with that? Like, in other words, sometimes, like, I know people form their own judgment and opinion of you, and it's completely inaccurate. Like, they think you are this type of person. Like, somebody thinks I'm a party girl. Okay, when I am a mother, a widow, I'm home with my kid more than I'm ever out. I'm the furthest thing from a party girl there really is. Yeah, on social media, I'm out, I'm doing whatever. I have a show, I connect. Right. Right, and I am. But
that's a perception. In the book, I write about it. Perception is 9/10 the law. Mm-hmm. In other words, I took it from possession.
Right. Possession, right?
But perception is, so whatever somebody's perception of you is something you have to deal with. They own that perception, and it could be a part of what you're presenting to them, and a part of what they just want to clean up. Right. Think up in their head. So, but it's still our responsibility to help them see the real us and to change their perception if we want to.
How?
Very easily.
How?
Doing soul to soul, for one. Just like literally going soul to soul, meaning talk to this person in your mind and your heart with all goodness, not to manipulate, but to just share truth and say, and first of all, you ask, when you do soul to soul, you're like, am I allowed? You bring your higher power. If it's God, bring God in. If it's whatever higher power, or mostly you could just say bring goodness into it, because you do not want this to be a negative manipulation. You don't want to be torturing somebody while they're sleeping. Soul to soul communication.
Maybe you don't know.
So what you do is you just say, what is about me that gives you this impression, and how can I help you see who I really am and what I'm really about? And that's it. Just be earnest about it. You don't have to. We don't have to drill people, beat them over the head. But think about this. Sometimes their perception of us is something we really need to hear. So we have to be accepting of that and say, you know what? That. Wait a minute. If enough people tell you the same thing,
right,
we got to accept that. And it's okay, because we want, ultimately, if that's not what you want to be perceived as.
Right. You want to correct it.
Right.
Right. Now, absolutely.
I mean, especially party girl is nothing, but imagine if it was something negative, really negative.
Well, to me, I mean, that was it was,
well, because you identify yourself as, I am a mother.
Right.
We said that in the very beginning of the show. I am a mother. So for you, that was the opposite.
Right.
You were called upon, which is why I don't like to say, who are you?
Right.
Because then we pigeon to ourselves. But if I said to you, she's a woman who loves to have fun, would that be less? Or I'd have to say you're a mom first. So the point is that if they only see you in one way, it doesn't mean that's all you are. And it doesn't mean that they're necessarily wrong if they don't know any other part of you. So we have to just be easy on people. And by saying I'm willing to hear truth, you're already being easy on the person.
Right. But I think it's just a judgmental type of thing is what I'm saying, that there are people that are just judgmental. They want to put the blame on you. And then, like you were saying that, about your relationships, and that they want to put the blame on you, and then when then you're sitting there with that shit.
But that's okay, because that's their stuff.
Right. But
and they're sitting
you
there
got to
on
be
stuff.
able to differentiate that it's their stuff and not your stuff.
Well, that in that moment when you say, I want to know truth, you'll hear they don't like their life right now. You'll hear what's going on, or asking for truth, they'll all of a sudden start admitting it, or someone will come to you the next day and tell you a story about what happened in their life, and then you'll be like, oh.
Yeah.
But if you sit there and say, I can't believe they did that, da-da-da-da-da-da.
Right.
If you bring in unconditional love, basically what you're doing is saying, that person has a great soul, they might not be in touch with it right now.
Right.
That's all you're saying, is by loving unconditionally, all you're saying is, I'm connecting with this, okay? Because this has got a little disconnect. That's what you're saying. Now, how fair is that?
You don't blend.
How is easy, right? How easy is that, though, to understand that we all have that? And how many times have we acted like a biatch
Right.
and wanted to still be loved?
Right.
And we
Very
wanted
true.
the benefit of the doubt.
Right.
You know? And there are people, yes, that sit in a lot of negativity all the time.
Right.
And people say, you got to run from them, you got to get... I say, they need us the most. If we're a loving person and we can bring ourselves to love them more, think of the healing we both get. Because the more chance we have to love and the more chance we have to let it be shared, the more powerful we become. Do we want to be powerful, or do we want to be just weak? Do we want to be soulfully inspired, or do we want to be humanly sitting in something? It just makes sense to want to turn that switch.
Yes, but unfortunately, like I was saying, you know, I see and speak to a lot of people, and they don't want to work that switch because they want to blame, they want to do all of those things, and they want to be miserable. And the reason why they say they don't want to be miserable,
until they know a better way, but we're not being taught that better way.
I understand.
You go to church or synagogue and they tell you how to be, but they don't tell you the method to get there.
Right.
They don't tell you how you need to manipulate this. They didn't tell you all the reasons why maybe you are in a bad mood. So many people I know who are in bad moods all the time, guess what? A lot of it's food that they've been eating for years and years and years, their whole life, that negatively manipulate their system and their hormones and everything else. And they've just been blaming their life. Been blaming or been called a bully because this happened to my daughter. When she was 8 years old, I got a phone call from her principal that she was biting kids. And I'm like, my child? Like, oh my God, I was horrified by that.
Right.
So what happened was, I just at that time was going to a biochemical nutritionist. And I'm like, you know what? I might as well get her blood work done and let her go there. I'll sign her up to therapy. You know, something's going on. Maybe it's the divorce. Who knew?
Right.
And got her blood work done, took her to the biochemical nutritionist, who knew nothing about this, by the way. I was just getting her, you know, I wanted to evaluate her since I was doing it for myself. And he said, he took one look at that blood work and he said, oh my, she's a little Spartic girl. And I'm like, I pictured like a little A on her chest with a cape, like Superman, you know, a Spartic girl.
Oh.
And a Supergirl. And I have no clue what he was talking about. And I said, well, what does that mean? He goes, let me ask you a question. Is she a little aggressive? Because he was a weird character, right?
Okay.
And I'm like, yeah, she's biting kids. That's one of the reasons why, you know, I'm starting to get her checked out. He says, well, I'm going to ask you another question. Does she eat a lot of chicken? And I was like, Doc, his name was Doc Doolin. I said, I'm a single mother. All she eats is chicken fingers, chicken nuggets. You know, it was like nonstop. I bring home chickens from the supermarket. It was the easiest meal. And he said, well, let me tell you what's going on. The chicken creates aspartic acid in the system, which triggers testosterone. Testosterone in little girls is not a good thing. He said, take her off the chicken, put her on turkey instead, call me if there's an issue. She never bit another kid.
Huh.
But now here's the best part of this. Guess what she was being called in school because of what she was doing with the other kids? She was getting known as the bully. Now imagine if we didn't figure this out. And years of that, she would turn into the personality because she wouldn't know any other way to be.
Right.
She would believe she is that person because
right.
that's who she is every minute of the day based on biochemistry. So that's when I started studying many years ago, when I started realizing that we need to manipulate ourselves in every way. We can't just say, I want to be better or I want to get rid of this anxiety. If we're eating a food that's triggering anxiety, how the hell are we going to talk ourselves out of it? But if we ask to be the best we can be, if we ask to be healed of the anxiety, we will get led and guided to the potential reasons why we have it in the first place. And it will include the physical, the mental, the emotional, and the spiritual aspects of itself. It's got to be all the parts. If it's not all the parts, you're not a whole person.
Right.
You can't not face one of those aspects. And maybe you're being led and guided, and you're being led and guided to stop eating, like, say, sugar, but you don't want to give up your ice cream every night. So you have to be ready, willing, and able at that point. Maybe you won't even hear that it's a sugar. Maybe you'll be in denial of that for a long time. You have to be so motivated to go beyond that. And what I always say to my clients is, because I can hear a lot of times, I'll hear, what are you eating? I can tell what's going on. So I'll say to them, will you do me the favor? Will you just get rid of it for 3-4 days and see how you feel? 5 days even, or a week, whatever they're challenged to do. And every single time, whether it's alcohol they're giving up for a week, or food, or gluten because they're feeling they're getting arthritis, no matter what it is, they do it for a week and they realize that their life is so much better. And so I have another saying that I always say, never deprive yourself of anything. Instead, change your mind about what you want. So is it really what you want is your health and your wellness and this great life, or do you want the chocolate cake?
Right.
Eventually you're gonna choose the great life, and that the chocolate cake's not gonna hold any power. The ice cream's not gonna hold the power. The alcohol's not gonna hold the power. The alcohol is liquid in a glass. How much of that do we let control our lives? That's crazy, right?
Oh yeah. I mean, 100%. You guys are listening to Real Talk with Karen Stacy live on MiamiMikeRadio.com, and we are listening to Donna Martini, and we are not having a martini.
No, and the reason why I'm in a coat is because it's cold in here.
Yeah, and as you can, I am in short sleeves, of course, because I am,
You're
crazy.
A hot lady.
I'm hot stuff. I'm a hot party girl.
A hot mama.
Hot mama, yeah. And we are talking, I mean, it's really a very interesting, concept that, I talk a lot on the show about law of attraction. I've talked about food and stuff. My son, I told you a little bit, and I've told the viewers and listeners, he went through a lot of things when he was younger, and I changed a lot of things. And now he's, kind of not doing those things as much. And I'm trying to do exactly what you just said. And I'm trying to explain to him, listen, you're not going to feel good if you continue to eat that. Like, you need to remember, if you don't feel well, this is why. But it is very difficult to do because it takes a lot, but like you said, it's a choice. If you want to be happy, you don't want to be happy. And again, that it's like, for instance, myself, like, I have a couple of things going on. So like yesterday I was great. Like, I was like on top of the world. I woke up in the morning. I was up early. I was doing my mantras in my head. I was, talking to myself. I'm like, this is going to be my best day, and all of these things. I did the prayer, the I love you thing, the Ho'oponopono, whatever. I mean, I was good, and I had a great day. I felt good. My energy was good. I was good, and then something threw me for a little bit of a loop, and then I was like, okay, and I was good, and but you go through, and then I'll start going through things in my head again. And I go, in my head, I go, would you stop?
Right, good.
Stop.
Good. You play third person. Play the third person.
Yeah, I said stop. You're going through the loop again. There's no reason to go through the loop. Just stop. You're good. So this is done. Stop talking. Stop. What are you worried about? And then, again, you're manifesting things. All you keep doing is talking about, in your own psyche, you're talking about all the things that you don't want.
Well, if you have a tape recorder that you've been running for years, it's going to take a while for you to undo that tape recorder and put in some new data, okay?
Right.
So by doing the mantras, you're actually going over the old, right, and creating new. And when you stop yourself, you can always still ask, is there something in this I need to hear?
Right.
Because there's still a healing that could be coming up when it's, consistent.
Right.
Or it could be like, if you might be hearing in your head, no, this is something that I need to reestablish as a mental track. And again, all positive means that's the future you're going to walk into. Now, again, we can't live positive every minute of the day when we're surrounded by so much negative in our country.
It's tricky.
People with sorrow.
Right.
We'd be weird. Okay. It'd be very strange.
Well, we're already weird, Donna.
Right,
that's everybody's listening. There's a lot of people
True.
listening going, yeah, okay.
Well, if they stayed with us this far, there was a part of them that knew what they were going to hear and maybe thought they needed to hear it. Okay. So it's, even though at this point in my life, I'm trying to go for ultimate goodness. I'm trying to really live my life as in the fifth dimension as I can, with as much love as I can.
Right.
But there are stages, and we're human. We're allowed to come back to a certain point and say, I don't really want to go that far. I'm happy if I can just make some money, be good to my kids, and find a spouse or whatever it is. That's awesome. Your soul knows your destiny here. He knows where you're being guided. You don't have to go. You could just coast for a while if you don't want to heal all the time.
Right.
It's up to us how far we go and how fast we travel.
You just don't want to go in the negative. That's the whole thing. I mean, you can coast as long as, maybe...
Well, there might be a time, though, that you're going to sit in some negativity.
Right.
Because you have to, because you got to get fed up sitting in there. Because you're not ready to move forward and change it.
True.
And so things will happen where they'll get more difficult and more of the same episode. Because bottom line, I really believe we're all being beckoned to change and move forward. Yeah. I really think that even someone who's sitting in prison, maybe you've even committed murder, was still trying to do their best. Like at that day that they committed that murder, there might have been 5 murders they were going to commit. Who knows what situations? It could have been that they committed 10 more murders before they got caught. There's part of them that may still be guiding them. Does everybody have a soul? People ask me that. Does everybody have a soul? And I often hear in my head when I ask that question myself, that just about every single person, like there may be a tiny percentage that maybe not even real humans, who knows? But for the most part, we do have that aspect. And so that means if we have a soul, we can touch base with it. Someone else can come in and touch that person's soul. What do you think that means when you say, when you look into someone's eyes, you can see their soul? It's really not as much seeing another person's soul as seeing your own soul. We reflect back to one another. So when we're good to someone, they're seeing themselves and goodness. They're literally in touch with their own soul, because that's at that moment what you're being in touch with. Right. You're not appealing to the human side who's barking at you. You're appealing to the soul who wants that person that it's existing in its body to rise up when they're ready.
Well, what do you feel? I mean, if you're talking about the soul, so many people talk about, obviously with death, that, your soul never dies. I know you were saying that the body is basically made up of water.
It's water molecules. So we're like 65% water in fluid initially, but they've scientifically proven that we are like 99.6% water molecules, something like that. And so why? Why would our bones be water molecules? But what happens to water when it dies?
It doesn't.
So it turns into something. So basically, if that's what we are, then when our body doesn't exist, even if it's burnt, even if it's whatever, it's literally just a bunch of molecules that are connecting with the rest of the earth. It's all we are. And we're not even solid. We realize now that there's no such thing as solid. Everything is moving and gyrating and resonating. We just happen to be a cluster of cells, So right now we're sharing energy, we're sharing space, but we're also sharing emotions. And so it makes we'll make the show better or worse, depending on our attention going in. So if we are jiving in the same energetic field and wanting to share love and help people.
But now what about the people that are no longer here? Can you still go, are you still soul to soul with people that are no longer here on this earth?
Well, I know plenty of psychic mediums. I know a few that are really connected. I could tell because I can hear the things that they say, and I know them to be true. I see the people's reaction to them. There are obviously not everybody's a psychic medium is doing it.
Right.
But I can tell you that I'm not a psychic medium, but I've been given the ability to discern many times to help someone. So, I'll come up with something in my head, like I'm hearing somebody tell me blah, 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 and you'll be like, that's what my mother used to say to me.
Right.
The same thing. So it's really because the intention I created to help you, that means I'm just in tune with more energies that are surrounding you. And it may be your soul's message to you, mimicking your mom's. Who knows?
Right.
Who knows? I don't know. I'm not going to say for sure who's speaking to me at that point. I have been in touch with other people who've passed on. Like when Wayne Dyer passed on, the next day I got messages from him. I have profound stories. They'll be in my next book about things that happened to me when I asked for truth and guidance. And we all have this ability, by the way. Every single one of us. I'm not special. I might know more how to tap into it. Maybe that makes me a little different than most people because I study it and I teach it. But we all can do this every day of our lives. We can be more in tune with one another's gifts and one another's power rather than one another's human side.
Right. Well, and that's the hard part, to differentiate between those, Now, we talked a little bit about the book, and you've been saying about the mantras. So what you've started to do now on Facebook every morning is, with this book, you pretty much, it's a tiny book, and what Donna wants us to do is kind of hold the book and have some intent in our heart, and then just flip through the channels, I'll be all right, flip through the pages, and then you stop at whatever page it is. Mm-hmm. And that should be, and then you read an excerpt from it. Mm-hmm. So now I know.
Go ahead, read it.
So this one here. Okay. Time will tell, but only if we ask it to. Wait and see, or show and seek. It's always our choice how long we wait. So now the mantra is in a darker lettering, and it says, show me I'm ready, willing, and able to take the next step.
So we've been talking about that the whole entire time.
Exactly.
Which is pretty cool. And so time will tell. They always say time will tell. But I say not unless we let it tell us. Not unless we ask it, because we just keep waiting for stuff to show up. And we're not intending it. We're not asking for truth. That's crazy. We have the ability to do it right now. Why would we wait?
I love the word now.
Yeah. Well, it is everything. Now is everything, truthfully, because we don't have a past and a future. It's this whole time we've had a past and a future. We really, right?
Right.
When we concentrate on the now, that's when we're our most power.
Well, because the future is not promised. So, and the past has already happened.
Well, the future just passed. And just passed again. And it just passed again. What is the future? Is it 2 seconds from now? Or is it 10 years from now? Mm. So we really only have this one moment that we're in to create our, power. It's not in the future or the past, that's for sure.
So now there are a couple. So you do the entire page, correct? Is that what you do, or you just take that little excerpt?
But if you feel like you want to do another one, then you just do another one. Like yesterday, I think it was yesterday or today, I did 2. No, today I did 2 because I picked one that was a physical one. And then I wanted to hear something else. For some reason, I needed to hear something else, and I picked another mantra for everybody.
So you would say though. So now this one that I okay. Time will tell, but only if we ask it to. Wait and see, or show and seek. It's always our choice how long we wait. So the mantra is, show me I'm ready, willing, and able to take the next step.
Right.
So now So now if you start your day off doing this, then this is what you're saying to yourself all day that day. Yes. Show me I'm ready, willing, and able to take the next step.
And that will mean something different to everyone. So for you, it might be, well, all right, my next step in what? Business, relationship, whatever. Or maybe in general.
Right.
For you, it may be I'm ready, willing, and able. Maybe you already know something that you should be doing. Like I'm going to admit today that I did something big. I did something really big that everybody's going to laugh. What do you mean big? I gave up cable.
That's right.
I went internet only. I cut the cord. And I was worried about my family coming to visit. I was worried about all this stuff when basically we could just stream a movie or something if we wanted to. There's plenty of things to do. When you're single, sometimes you rely on TV at night to watch your
company
shows.
Or whatever, right.
Yeah, and I wasn't really watching it. I was also crazy annoyed that we're paying so much money to watch commercials. But the commercials were so damaging, like so many commercials for drugs and all kinds of things, and letting us feel bad about our money and making us feel bad about everything. So I said, I don't want to give any more of my money and time to this company. So I cut the cord, and I had to be ready, willing, and able to do that, right?
Right.
And it took me months. Why?
Because it's just comfortable.
Habit. And I had to prove to myself that I was, and plus the fact that when we're watching television, there really isn't a lot worthy on TV to watch. I want to stay positive and loving, and here I'm watching a show like Shameless. Okay,
right.
That's not going to work.
Right.
And I know there was some qualities to it. I want to know what's going on television because I want to see what everybody else is watching, so I know how to coach people.
Right.
I understand.
Right.
I want to understand.
You got to have your finger on the pulse.
Yeah, I want to
bit.
understand the energy these kids are living in too, because I'm not it's crazy, some of the attitudes. It's crazy the amount of depression, suicide, drug use, and lethargy, and apathetic attitudes, and just
it's really also the stupid games. And I mean, my son has two things. He's got the computer, and then he's got the iPad, and I'm like, dude, how much stuff you got going on?
Well, first of all, the electromagnetic frequencies he's dealing with.
I know.
His whole body's going to change. His hormones are going to change. Everything.
I know.
He's got to be disconnected to at night. What it's doing to his eyes before he goes to sleep. The damage is being done to his brain. We have to be in tune with what's going on. We are electromagnetic beings working with electromagnetic machines. It's not jiving. One's man-made, one is made by, the universe. It's not working. And we're getting more kids with brain cancer than ever before via cell phone use and everything else. They used to be the rarest cancer in children. Now it's the most prevalent.
Eish.
Okay? But it's also, I believe, changing us on our metabolism as well. I think it's interrupting signals. It's interrupting our sleep. It's automatically doing that.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
So we have a lot of people who are sensitive to that, and they don't know about it, and they get getting misdiagnosed, and they're going on drugs, and then it gets even worse. Mm-hmm. So as a coach, I'm always trying to decipher that first and foremost. Right. How people are sleeping next to routers.
Yeah.
And they're keeping their phones by their head. Please get your phone away from your child at night. Put it at least 4 feet away. Turn the Wi-Fi off at night. I have a plug with a Wi-Fi, a plug into the Wi-Fi that has a remote control.
Huh.
So by my bed, I turn off everything at night. I turn it back on in the morning when I'm starting to work. And the Wi-Fi goes off and it goes on. So the house is calmer to sleep in. Lots of things that we can do when we're in tune. But again, how did I know this? I wasn't doing well. I was getting a lot of symptoms. I asked for truth. I want to be healed. I had the intention. I kept saying, I am healing. I am healed. And I kept walking into more and more information about electromagnetic frequencies. And I noticed I have all the symptoms. And then I walked into ways to heal that, to protect myself. It was continuous. So again, you just need to ask. And it is given.
Jeez, I love that. I want to ask for everything. I want it all. I always says, what do you want? I want everything. I want it all. But we are actually, somebody was just saying that they want, the book. Just in case you guys are just tuning in now to Real Talk, on MiamiMikeRadio.com. Donna had also said that she would be willing to or would like to coach somebody that is on the feed right now. So if there is anything...
How much time do we have?
We have a few minutes. We have a little under about 20 minutes, give or take.
Plenty of time.
So if there's anyone on the feed that wants to... ask any questions that we can address. I have my phone here so I can see if it pops up. Also, we are going to, somebody was saying that they want the book.
Well, you could buy the book on Amazon if you don't win it tonight.
Yes.
Amazon has it. It's in both formats, ebook and regular.
Yes, and I have mine in the ebook, but I have to say that, maybe both. I mean, because this little guy here is great, and what's great about it is that you can just open it to the page.
It's got energy. Everything has energy, so
True.
It does help.
True. And at the end of the show, so in about another 10 minutes or so, we need the proper spelling of mighty.
No.
Of nothing. What do I need again?
The character in the book.
The character in the book.
Remember, because we were not giving the name, we gave the name. If you remembered it, you wrote it down, and you're going to do the correct spelling. And if you do that, I'm going to give you...
Which I would fail immediately because I can't spell anything. But now, while we're waiting to see if anybody wants our input here, what is one thing that you would encourage everyone that is listening right now to do?
One thing.
Well,
for what purpose?
Just in general. If people are listening right now, and like you said, if they listen this long, there's a reason why they listened. So, if they saw you. I saw. I was listening to this talk show, and there was someone on the show that was talking about coaching and health coaching and all of these things, and this is what they got from it. So what
Okay.
would be your...
So simple. Love more.
And I had that written down too.
Just love more. And I'll tell you that it builds you as much as it helps other people. It's going to lift you. It's going to heal you. And it's going to lighten you up about so many things that are going on around you in your family and in your relationships and your work. Giving other people the benefit of the doubt too is like having compassion, because everyone is in their stuff. Everyone's dealing with their own genetic structure, their background, their past, their childhood. They might not even realize how much energy they're taking up from other people. We didn't even talk about that tonight.
Yes, well, we can talk about that a little bit. I mean, I am kind of like that hopeless romantic. I do think love conquers all. I was blessed to know what that love actually feels like, and it did conquer all. Everything I had was conquered because I was loved, fully, unconditionally. It really, love does conquer all. And I always, it's hard for us. It's hard because so many people have broken hearts for one reason or another. So many people, like I said, are in survival mode, are the victim and all these things. So it becomes very difficult to open your heart when your heart is you're trying to protect it because you're hurt. So instead of loving more because you really want love, you actually pull back more and you push it away. Mm-hmm. So I would have to agree with that, and I it's funny because I wrote that down too, and I was going to talk about it. We are. Yes, I was going to talk about it, and yet you did. So you want to talk about that energy? What did you want to talk about? Where were you going with that?
Emotional energy, whatever we're thinking and feeling, are creating electromagnetic frequencies, and that's going out in energy. This is proven. We've measured it with machines now, so we know this. So if you're having anger or anxiety or anything like that, someone within the vicinity of you is going to be able to feel that. Now, what happens is a lot of times we'll feel it from someone. Either we won't like the person because we don't like the energy, we'll move away, or we'll think it's us. A lot of people who are empathic can't tell the difference between someone else's energy and their own, until they get good at it. And so there's a lot of kids nowadays. It seems like there's many, many children with extreme anxiety who are really empathic, picking up on everybody else.
Yep.
They're so sensitive. And there is a way to protect ourselves from that. We have, first of all, just knowing and understanding, okay? But the potential for us to change someone else's energy field, okay, is just as great as them changing us. So more so if we're putting on love, if we're producing love, compassion, which is probably one of the highest resonations we can feel. Gratitude, give me some more. Joy, give me some more positive emotions.
Grateful.
Great gratitude, right? Gratefulness, peace, good, any kind of goodness. So if we are trying to generate that from our hearts and our minds, and basically the only... humbleness, grace, right? Uh-huh. The way we do that is just by intending it and then feeling it. So people will say, well, if I'm angry, how can I feel love? Well, start with the intention, okay? And then you will be led and guided to how. Because you're right, it would be very hard. That's why we just need the mind as our tool. That's why mantra means tool of the mind. That's why I created this book. Because to start the manipulation process, you just need the intention. Okay, that's what's going to happen first. Because what you're manipulating out of is that negative tendency that being human puts us in. Being human just makes us,
screws it all up.
That might be what it means in the Bible, original sin. That might be what it means. That we're just made, without soul and potential for the soul and the love and the goodness. What are we?
Right.
Very selfish, driven, humanoids. Egotistical humanoids. So the idea is that the more we intend to drop that side and bring in more of the other, the more powerful we become to create change. So when your son understands his power, that he can love more than they can hate, or love more than they can be in anxiety, he will be projecting his energy out And now the potential for the person is there to mingle with that rather than him mingling with their stuff.
Right.
Love is way more powerful, compassion, all of them way more powerful than any negative emotion anyway. So you only need one person in a room of like 100 to pour on that love and believe in the power. And if they're good at feeling it, they can change the energy of the room. And this is scientifically proven, by the way.
Yeah.
So...
Yeah, well, I always, most of my posts and on a lot of my shows, I always say, you never know what someone else is going through. You should always lead with kindness, and you really don't know. You could just, the smallest little thing you could do for somebody could change their whole day. I mean, I had a friend on that's also a healer, and she had said to me she was someplace one day and just somebody held the door for her. And she was having such a bad day, and this person held the door for her, and it made her whole day. Mm-hmm. And I mean, like me, when I'm out, like I talk to everybody and anybody. Like I'm just like that. I'll be in the supermarket, I'm helping somebody get something, I don't care. I just start talking. And, and a lot of people don't do that. So they look at you like you're crazy. Like, you're like, why is this woman talking to me?
I talk to people on the elevator, and it's the craziest time.
Right, like you're not allowed to talk to people on the elevator. Yeah, you
don't
make eye contact.
They
like,
can't
get me
even
out
get out of there.
Yeah.
They're trapped. But it's funny because what went through my head is when years back, you're talking about when someone hold the door open for you made my day, right? What that woman said.
Right.
And I think from years past, I would be like, the opposite. I'd be angry if someone didn't hold the door and it slammed in my face.
Which is sad, right?
The idea is we have to flip that. We really do have to flip it and expect that, and put our expectations up to higher power, higher knowing, God, whoever it is for you, rather than putting our expectations on people, because they're going to fail. They can barely get their own needs met, let alone our needs.
Right.
So to understand that energy of need and want, could be floating to a higher power rather than to a person. That makes more sense anyway. Our days get better. They potentially get a lot better because we have no expectations of people. They're not disappointing us all day.
That's a tough thing, because you're projecting at that point. You're putting onto someone else what you yourself need to do. Mm-hmm. Then that's the problem, right? We really do want someone to fix it for us, right? It's so much easier. If you can do this soulful manipulation, like, can you just do it for me, please? So I don't have to do it, because it's so much easier. Can you just fix me, please?
Right.
And that's what you want, because to go through the steps that it takes to get to the other side, it hurts. It's hard. That's why people don't go for therapy.
Well, we can't go to the gym, hire a trainer, and then ask them to do the weightlifting for us and then expect to get the muscles.
Right.
So,
see, I've been working on that too. No?
We have a coach that can help us, but we have to do.
Right.
We have to actually do the work, but then we get to see the great results.
Right.
So, and it's hard sometimes. Right. And it's hard sometimes for people to understand that being in this kind of state of being will reap rewards. But I will tell you most certainly that even if you tried it once, you will reap the reward so fast, you'll want to do it more and more. So it's basically trying, just getting over yourself for the, that one.
Getting over yourself.
Getting
It's
over
the right
yourself.
thing to say.
Getting over yourself. And I actually have notes in the book, my note to my human self, get over yourself. That's the exact words I think I use, because there's part of you that really, really, really doesn't want to sit in crap. Really, really, really doesn't want to be angry. Really, really, really doesn't want to hate Trump or hate Pelosi or whatever it is. You really just want to be calm, and you want to be happy, and you want people to do what they're supposed to be doing instead of what, But guess what? That's their challenge. And our challenge is to affect positive change. So while we're hating someone, what positive change are we creating?
Nothing. You're creating turmoil.
Right. So instead, we got to start, some kind of an organization or whatever to heal the woes that we think they're not taking on.
Yeah.
Who is it? Gandhi? Be the change you want to see.
Right.
And it's so important for us to teach our kids that, because now they just blame on everybody else.
Yep. Well, that's it. Accountability, which I talk about a lot. It's accountability, and it's also, like you said, kindness and love. I mean, it really is. Love is the answer. And a lot of people lose track of that because so many people have become so self-contained, if you will, right? Not even just self-sufficient, but self-contained. Being
Yes.
self-sufficient is loving yourself, but contained, where, you know, we're all on this rat race, if you will, and everybody is just trying to get to the other side, and no one really knows what the hell they're doing.
Well, we're all trying to make money because it's such an insane
Dog
world,
and it's
to
a
live
dog
in.
eat dog world too, you
So
know?
we become more separate because we were afraid to share.
Right.
And I've been working pro bono for decades, so I get the whole thing about money. And
Which is amazing, which is another reason why anybody there that wants to share, you know, Donna's book, you know, it really, she's on Amazon, she's on Kindle. You know, this woman has dedicated her life to helping others, and she is not, I mean, I think the book is $3. Is that right?
It's $2.99 for the online, and it's $9.95 for the actual book.
Okay, so
If you want to buy quantities for your job, for your business, or your coworkers or family or whatever, quantities of 10 or more, then I give severe discounts, and I can do that myself to you direct, but not on Amazon because I can't control them.
Right. So, I mean, you know, Donna is definitely, you know, trying to branch out as much as she can to spread her message, number one. And number two, you know, to do these events where, you know, like, in other words, if you have a business and you want to sponsor the book and spread more positivity into the world, you know, this is her journey, because somebody like myself, where, to be honest with you, you know, coaches, you know, I know it's, and I'm just giving a general, you go to somebody to help you, they charge you, you know, $150, $200 an hour. If she would have said that to me, I would have never have been able to have done that, you know? And so for someone to be able to who has made it their life's mission, and you have educated yourself, you've gone through everything to get to this point, because you didn't just wake up today and all of a sudden you had all of these credentials.
No, but I will tell you this. One of the reasons why I want to share is because I don't want people to have to go through the way I had to learn it the hard way. I want them to be able to learn it before they have to go through that.
And you're also,
especially our kids.
And you're right. And you're, and the point too, and you know, is that you're doing it selflessly, because all you're trying to do is spread this, and you know, spread this message. And with the minimal amount, the nominal fees that it costs, which is like nothing, it can keep her where she can continue to do this without having to turn people away, or, you know, because of the fact that, you know, she needs to make X amount of dollars. So
pay the mortgage.
Right.
I will tell you a few really cool things.
Okay.
I just got word that we have between 350 and 450 books going in the golf bags at a golf outing for a fundraiser.
Very cool.
For a not-for-profit. So that everybody's getting one in the bag. I had 200 of them donated from a corrections officer to the inmates in jail in Suffolk County,
That's
Long
amazing.
Island. I had business owners buying 50 to give away to clients. Basically what they do is they take a clear sticker, and I can even help them design in a black and white of their logo or their name, a gift brought to you by, and they put it on the back of the book and hand it out. And they can do it to colleges, they can do it to hospitals, they can do it to a not-for-profit that they're, you know, going to an event or whatever. It doesn't really matter. The jail is awesome because what else are they doing there to rebuild?
Right. That's exactly right.
They have the time. That's the perfect place to start these.
But the other thing that's great about this book is that, you know what, if you're not a reader, it's okay. Because there is a part one, which I think is like 40 pages, you know, and it's a very easy, quick read.
It's a tiny book too.
And the rest of it are all these mantras. And honestly, if you're not a reader, it's literally like 2 sentences maybe. Yeah. I mean, it's not going to take
is like 4.
It's not going to take up a ton of your time. And if you can just change your thought process before you go to sleep at night, or when you wake up in the morning, however you want to do it, you know, it's the right thing to do. So, you know, we need to all get on board and support people like Donna, who are, you know, their life's mission is to help other people selflessly. And beyond that, you know, this is amazing and can change your life. So,
there's another way they can help too.
Okay.
On my Facebook page, Donna Martini, I think it's / Donna Martini 7 or something like that. If you look me up, you'll see me. I don't look much different than this on my profile picture. Or you can go to my mini book of mighty mantras, and you'll see tons of posters. Every few days, I put up a new cartoon that I create them, and my graphic artist puts them in computer format, and they all have a positive message. And if you want the PDF, you can basically download it right from there. But if you want the original so you can do a bigger poster, I will give it to you for free. As long as you keep on the copyright information and people can know where it came from, I want to be able to help advertise the concepts of love and goodness to the schools. I mean, some of these cartoons are really centered around forgiveness, love. Some of them are for business, self-motivation, overcoming fears, obstacles, whatever. So there's like maybe 30 cartoons now that people can take advantage of, and I give them away as far as the PDF. You print it out on your own machine, put them up wherever you want, in your office, cafeteria, and you can legitimately share so much with that little bit.
Spread the love.
Spread the love.
Spread
yep.
the love. We have to ask the question.
So who is the character in the book, and how do you spell the character's name?
How do you spell the character's name so that somebody can win the book this evening? And if you do not win the book, then you can go on Amazon, or you can go on Kindle. And all of the information as well is on my page, where if you guys are all here, where there's a link for Donna, so you can find her on there as well. I just want to remind everybody that we have upcoming shows on MiamiMikeRadio.com. We have Mondays with Luke on Mondays from 12 to 3. Mondays we have The Ride Home with DJ Paulie, aka the Portuguese Prince, from 6 to 9. Mind Candy Mondays with DJ Rob Mush at 9 p.m. Tuesdays, we have Steve, DJ Simply Nice, in the afternoon from 1 to 3. And then, of course, we have Tuesdays, Real Talk with Karen Stacy at 8 p.m. Wednesdays, we have DJ Lady E. And following with Wednesdays, the Mayhem Loyal Listener Show at 8:30. Gino Caffarelli with his Throwback in the Days. Thursdays, we have the Traffic Jam with DJ Michael Anthony at 4 p.m. Fridays, we have Steve, DJ Simply Nice at 8 p.m. And then we have Tony Sinapi with Friday Night Sessions. Saturdays, we have the Ghazi Show with DJ Ghazi at 8 p.m. And of course, Anthony Mangini with his Saturday Night Dance Party from 10 p.m. I know we have some new shows coming on. We have some new DJs coming on the station. We have a lot of exciting things going on, so stay tuned for that. Again, I want to say thank you for an amazing year. And thank you for being my guest on my 1-year anniversary. Mm-hmm. It's technically tomorrow, but it's technically today.
Right.
So I just want to say thank you guys for giving me the opportunity to do this and to learn and to grow right here on the radio with you guys, and hopefully sharing, like Donna, positivity. And I always say that I want to give people a different perceptive than what they have. So if they listen to the show and hear one thing that changed the way they thought, then I feel like we did good. Mm-hmm. And that's really my goal, with the show. And of course it is real talk. So sometimes we get a little real and it goes a little on the gets a little crazy, but that's okay because it is real talk and we're not fluffing anything. It is what it is. So I have to say that I don't see anybody that responded for the book, for the giveaway. I'm not seeing it. So you know what we'll do? We will give.
Well, you know what? Sometimes it's after we.
Yes,
cut off.
We're gonna give. Oh, so yeah. we're gonna keep this out right now.
Sure, I can see stuff coming up there.
Yeah, sure? It's not.
Happy anniversary.
Thank you. Yes, I'm seeing everything. So what we need is to know the
character from my mini book of mighty mantras, the name and how it's spelled.
Okay, so we need the character. So if you've been listening and paying attention, then you can comment on the feed and tag either myself or Donna in it so that we know where to send the book to. So I want to thank you again for coming. I mean, I want to thank you for everything, but definitely want to thank you for coming on the show, sharing your heart and soul with everybody on here. Please, guys, I would like you guys to share this. I will put the Mixcloud up probably by tomorrow or Thursday the latest, so you can listen to it in your car and everything else. But also on the Facebook Live, sharing is caring. I know a lot of people weren't around today. So, if you can share this, I think that there are a lot of people that could benefit from listening to this show. And it's really funny because me and Donna are both absolutely exhausted right now. So I can tell you that me sitting here, and I don't know if the same thing happened with you, but at one point I almost fell off my chair because the energy was so much that I literally, I had to center myself 3 times because the energy was so strong. I don't know if you're more protected than me, but I
was feeling very calm. You're a very good host.
Well, thank you. I know people do say that I do make them feel calm.
Well, you know why? Because your energy's so big, so they don't have to be. They can just relax.
Oh. There you go. I never thought about it like that.
Well, I know that's what's going on with me.
See, my pushy energy works sometimes.
But it's powerful energy.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. So thank you guys so much for tuning in this evening to Real Talk with Karen Stacy. And thank you to my guest, Donna Martini. We have to buy her book. Everybody, spread the word, please. And I love you guys. Happy Tuesday. I'll see you soon.